Hey, Queen, did you ever say to anyone, oh, I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush to get married. I'm not in a rush to be in a relationship. You know, it'll come when it comes. Did you ever say this to anyone? So, today I want to talk to you about planning your future, planning your life, planning your love life. Okay? So, I think in today's world, we kind of like hear how unimportant it is because you're so cool that you don't need that. You don't need a man. That's more of a nice to have, whatever. And to me, that sounds kind of like a cool girl syndrome, a bit. Because if you think about it, who you share your life with or who you don't, it's life changing. I'm going to make a separate video about the choice of being alone forever. But in this one, we'll talk about planning and getting real about this. So if I'm out of breath, it's because we're in the last week of pregnancy and it's rough as hell. But anyway, let's talk about planning. Something so important, something so life-changing and detrimental to your life. Okay? So growing up, I grew up in a very religious atmosphere and family. And I used to be called arrogant and cocky. You know why? Because I had the belief, like from birth, I had the belief that we are not puppets, that we are not leaves that flow with the wind, but I had the belief that we have free will and that we get to decide how we live. Mm-hmm. And we get to decide what happens in our life and what doesn't. And I don't mean stuff like we get to decide if we get run over by a truck or not, or if we get on a plane crash. I don't mean that. I mean, we get to plan our life to a really big extent other than the, you know, force majeure events that you can't control, like a plane crash. So I would constantly have my parents and all people around me say stuff like, oh, God willing, and like, you never know where life takes you. And I'm like, no. I believe that I am the co-creator of my life and that I have free will. I was not put in this world to be a victim of the wind or a victim of destiny. Yeah, I am a creator, a co-creator of my destiny. So, of course, I was never a fit anywhere where the belief that if God wants, I will have X or Y in my life. Okay? So with that being said, when I hear, oh, it'll come when it comes. Kind of like we leave such important things to chance, to fucking randomness. I think it's crazy. And today I want to invite you to, where's Kleenex? Who knows? Today I want to invite you to take such an important aspect of your life into your hands and to realize that you can plan and that you can decide how it gets to work out. Like in every manifestation that you have in your life, there's feminine and a masculine aspect to it. Or, you know, the belief aspect, the hope aspect, the faith, the belief that it gets to happen for you. Why? Because life is good, is the feminine. And then the masculine side, okay? When you have the belief, the feminine side, then it's like, okay, I decide. So you get to decide this is happening. And then with a decision has to come a plan, which is the action part. How do we make it happen after we have decided? Yeah? So that's what I want to talk about you today. Sure, the first part is that you have to believe that you do have a say, you have free will, you get to co-create your life with source, with a higher power, or whoever you want to call it. Okay? So, planning. You simply say, you know what? This is what I want. And part of it, you'll realize, am I owning my desire to be married, to have a family, to be with the one, right? If you're still on that cool girl syndrome of like, I don't need that, I'm cool without it, it'll happen when it happens. Like if you're 20, I get it that you're still in that, like literally there's no rush at 20. But when you're 30 plus, I think it's an issue when you don't have a sense of urgency for things in your life, to get things done in your life. Because what happens then, I see this all the time. Women who are 38, 39, and their biological clock wakes them up. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty. In fact, it's close to gory. The amount of suffering when they realize they can't have a family anymore. And I want to tell you that this issue can start a lot earlier in life for a lot of women. So I do urge you to have a sense of urgency for the things that are so important in your life. Why is it important? I think that's a whole separate video. But back to the bottom line, the planning. You get to decide what you want. You want to say, you know what? In my book, the ideal age to get married is whatever. To me, it was in my late 20s. Ideally, in my very late 20s, but it happened when I was 27. Okay. And when I say it happened, I didn't say by chance. I was actually looking for it at that point in time. I saw myself as ready, and I knew what I wanted to a big extent. So you say when it should happen in your book, and what happens then is you get to action. You get to the dating apps. Yeah, dating apps. And it doesn't mean that you are looking for a man. You're looking for a man. No, you're putting yourself out there. You're making yourself visible for your future potential husband, for him to be able to find you. As simple as that. Because when I hear women trying to play cool, trying to act like they're not desperate, guess what? These women, because time starts ticking, they start making desperate moves. So you being on the apps is not you looking for a man. It's you making yourself visible. And, available to a degree, to whoever will be your dream husband. So, you put yourself out there so that you're findable. And then your energy, right? You come from a place of faith and hope and excitement. You're excited about who I'm going to meet, what wonderful person I'm going to bump into, what wonderful husband is out there waiting for me. And just pure excitement. Life shocked me. Life blew me away. Life surprised me. And of course, with an openness, an open heart of, you know, whatever wonderful person is out there. Because if you go there with a freaking attitude of like, I'm not desperate, and ugh, the apps, well, girl, you have an attitude problem. And I'd be surprised any woman with an attitude finding the one. So it's very simple. Own your desire. Stop playing cool because it's not cool. It comes from a place of fear. What you're doing of like, oh, I don't need this. Because being independent has nothing to do with that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to do with that. You know why? Because finding a mate, a lifelong mate, is a human need that is biologically wired in you. It's kind of like you have to feed yourself, something like that. You're like, no, because if I don't feed myself, I'm gonna die. Without a man, I'm not gonna die. Well, you're not gonna die in a literal sense, but you will die in another way. Have you ever seen the spinsters? They are bitter as fuck. They truly are. And I could write a book about that. In fact, I will. So anyway, attitude, owning your desire, and action. Get out there. And if you have this huge fear, walk with fear. Hand in hand. Move despite the fear. Just do it. Just get it done. Get out there. And have the right energy. That's it. You don't need to fool me, because you're not. You don't need to fool yourself saying that there's no rush. What are you, 20? 19? You don't need to impress anyone by how independent you are. No one cares. It's you that ends up alone or not. And yeah, stay tuned for that video. So anyway, queens, make sure you get down to earth and decide. Plan and just get it done. That's it. Simple as that. You thought there was going to be this major freaking groundbreaking thing to say, but I think what is groundbreaking today is to keep it simple and to get things done. So anyway, let me know if this resonates. I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.